Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. This video is going to be long and involve much talking. There will be a very small amount of work involved in it, so if that is not your thing, it's probably not the video you're going to enjoy. The topic is the house behind me, which was the topic of one of the series on this channel, a very small series of getting this house ready to rent. Most of you will remember it as the house that I purchased because it is on land that was previously owned by my family that was purchased in the 60s, and then so me buying it was getting it back into the family to where it would then be part of the land that's also owned by my family on the other side of the road. So very glad to have gotten it. I bought this house about 2 years ago, I guess, and the people that moved into it almost 2 years ago, right before Christmas. So I don't know what year that was. I guess December 2018. Lived in there through 2019, and then until this month in 2020. So they called. I got a call from my property manager on the last day of the month, and she was all surprised and told me that they had just called, said that they were moving and had already moved out and were buying a house and were gone. They did it without any warning. They just upped and left. So a bit shocking to me, because I was here about 2 weeks ago replacing a water heater, talked to them and everything, and no mention of this at all, and then they're just gone. And when you're buying a house, you know, there's a process of getting a mortgage and all that, so it's not like you didn't know. So I'm not saying they owe me anything or anything like that. I was just surprised that they didn't tell me, because I felt like I had a decent relationship with them. Wasn't around them all that much, but most of you know I've got that barn and other stuff in the background, so I am here. So, you know, I'd see them, I'd wave, I'd come up the driveway on occasion. So they were familiar with me, and I've been here to fix a few things, and I feel like I've always been good about that. But they were pretty private people, so I can see them just kind of leaving quietly. And then I think what was going on is after the first year they were in here, their lease switched to month, and so they basically assumed that if you were gone by the end of a month, that was okay, but in the lease they need to give a 30-day notice that they're going to be leaving. So basically you have to let them know the month ahead before you leave, so they lost their security deposit. So they lived in this house for 1 year, 9 months, then lost their security deposit. So that was another, so 1 year, 10 months, and then, so each month, $1,000. So they rented this house for, what is that, 22 months? Am I getting that right? Let's see, 1 year, that's 12 months, plus 10 months, 22 months. So they paid $22,000, over $22,000 while living in this house to rent it. That's shocking to me, even just hearing it now, even though it's right. I did not make that much money off this house. I have a mortgage on this house, which means I put 22 over that probably. Yeah, because I paid $200 extra a month on this per month just to increase. That ends up taking like 12 years off the mortgage by paying $200 extra. I think I'm getting that right. I haven't done the math in a while. Long story short, tenants are buying what is to me a very expensive house. I got a good deal on this house, but I did not pay what it probably would have gone for if it would have gone onto the market with a sign at the end of the driveway and, you know, in the hands of a real estate agent. I probably paid $20,000 to $40,000, well, I'd say $40,000 to $60,000 less than this house could have been sold for, best case scenario, which would have required them to do some things like put gutters on it and do some of the work that I did. I spent total closing costs, down payment, and to get this place ready to rent cost me $20,000 about, which included buying it, upgrading the electric, installing a heat pump. I redid the floors, sort of. I sort of did a scuff sanding and refinished them myself. Painted the house, new appliances. So I'm not sure how much the renovation part of it cost. Then the rest were closing costs, the down payment on the house and all that. So roughly $20,000 to get it in my hands. And then the payment on it was $856 a month. Rent it for $995, plus they had a dog. That was $25 a month. So $1,020. So that's about as far into my business as I'll let you go, just to give you some reference. Things I would like to do to this house that I haven't done to it. I would like to replace the gutters on the whole thing. Right now it just has a gutter across the front here. This type of roof, there's a pitch on all sides, so it needs gutters that wrap around the whole thing. So really what I need to do is get up there, clean off and repaint the fascia boards, and then just have someone come and wrap gutters around this whole thing, and then do proper drainage to get the water away from the foundation. Beautiful place though. And I'm sentimental about this place as well because, like I said, I grew up right over there. Family land. The idea of someone else buying it and living here would have just been so weird. The man that I bought this house from was the son of the man who bought this land and then built this house. So the man that lived here, you know, he died of old age, him and his wife, and then they had children, you know, which basically grew up here from the time they were like teenagers. You know, I was able to get it right from them. So it's been in the same family who's kept it the same. And then, as I've said in my other videos, the road is right down there. And with the amount of land that this sits on, it was very plausible that someone would have bought this house, fixed it up, flipped it and sold it, and then subdivided all that off into lots, and it would have just been double wides all the way down the road. I have no problem living in a double wide. I mean, with people that live in double wides. As I said previously, I lived in a single wide trailer as a child, so I'm not a person who's anti-trailer, but I don't want to look at it. You know, that would be our view, would be looking at trailers lined up down the road, coming out of the driveway. And this being sentimental as far as it used to be in the family, even though it far predated me as when it was sold, it's still something that I wanted to get back. And I have all kinds of what I think of as cool ideas. So let's go inside and take a look at things. Power's off right now. So I have a generator here to do some of, give me a second. Which key is it? They left the place in good shape. There's some stuff, you know, everybody's going to do something that makes you roll your eyes. But there's nothing in here shocking. This house is straight up 1967 as far as the dated appearance of it. But I like it. The owners of this house just took really good care of it, basically. So there's the kitchen. I did nothing in here except for the appliances. I just bought these appliances at Lowe's, installed them. I think I might have done something under the sink, just kind of tightened up some stuff, but all original. Everything's original. Everything's fine. Like the biggest deal stuff is things like that, just the teeniest little chip there. But the Formica is in great shape. It's not mounted to press board, it's plywood, so it's not going to do what it would do if it was press board, like modern like countertops. It's not as well lit up in here as when I showed the $12,000 house after the tenants left, but things are pretty good. I'll probably change out the rings. In here's decent. Now, when I rented the $12,000 house, it was a single guy who worked all the time, and I think his girlfriend was living there with him, so they were young, no children, anything like that, no pets, and they were both just clean as, you know, whistles as far as how they treated the place. This family, it was a family with 2 children, so different story as far as the potential of what could happen, but still they did really good. So I haven't done anything in here, to be clear. I came in here yesterday and I'm back today to do some painting, but I haven't done anything. So, you know, little dog hair. Yeah, and they had a dog, like an 80-pound husky. So with that said, I think they did remarkable as far as the condition they left everything in. Now, y'all will remember I refinished the floors, as in I did a vibrating sander over them and 2 coats of a high-quality polyurethane. Now, they did do a little bit of number on the floor. I don't know how they did this. They wore this floor. You know, it was probably just a lot of traffic, and then I think you can see some of these scrapes. I think when they were moving out, they were just dragging a lot of stuff across the floor, which I wouldn't have done that myself. So I don't know why they did that. It should have been obvious, I think, while they were doing it. It's hard to see it on camera, but there's just a lot of scratch marks that go to this front door. I'm sure they had a truck backed right up to the door. Take a look out the window. Look at the view here. I need to do something about these bushes and trees. I'm not sure. It's just so scraggly, and then these are just in the way of cutting the grass. The spots in the yard, what's going on is they had a inflatable pool over here for the children. This is where the septic tank is. This is where the septic company guessed the distribution box was, but was wrong. Turns out it's way down here. That is extremely far away from the box for those of you who are not familiar with septic systems. They dug it up, they pumped it, and they cleaned out the line between it and the distribution box and had to pull roots out of the distribution box. So I thought the septic system was going to have to be replaced, but very, very luckily it was just kind of clogged up. Had to call slow flow, and then the tank was filling up and some solids were getting out and just clogged up the line going down to the distribution box. So all that's been cleaned out, and then I made a treated plywood riser for the distribution box, and then so it's just like 6 inches underground. So I can dig that dirt away and just keep an eye on that and make sure roots don't collect in it, check the flow, make sure everything's okay. Back to the house. So things will probably look a little bit better than in reality on the camera, but here's where a sofa was up against the wall, into the corner. Stuff like this where they had something adhesive on the wall, pulled it off, and it pulled some of the paper off the drywall. Same thing going up there. So just some light spackling. And then like this corner, it's just dirty for some reason. I don't know why. And then they were younger children, so everything sort of in the 3 to 4 feet off the ground range on all the walls where hands have been, dragging them around corners are dirty. So I'm going to get in here with a sponge and some cleaner and just kind of clean the walls off in those sections and then take it from there. There will be some painting in areas. There's this, so something happened there and it looks like they painted over an area with some paint that didn't quite match. So I'll probably roll out this wall. My dad calls it give it a landlord special paint job, which I am pretty careful with paint because I don't like to just repaint imagine if you had to repaint it every single year, and sometimes if someone left early, you just end up with so much paint on the wall. I think that starts to look bad. Some walls have been painted 1,000 times. So I try to be sparing. With that said, this is only the second, when I painted these walls white, that was the second time these walls have ever been painted in this house. It was the original paint job, and then that wall, one room. When I bought this house from the original owner's son, this room was pink, and that was the only time they painted the walls other than the original time. Everything else was original paint in this house, and it was in remarkable shape. It was a weird, that color right there, I don't know what happened, but they washed something off the wall right here and wore through the paint. So this was one of the children's rooms, and just in general, the walls just look kind of dingy now, just from a year and 9 months of little kids playing in here. The wall right here is kind of dirty, looks like tape residue all over the wall. This corner is really dingy. Then down the hallways are real dingy. This room, same thing. Just everything from sort of the ground to about 5 feet up the walls just need to be at least cleaned. People watching this that have rented houses before know what the potential is. So this is very, very good condition for a tenant to leave things in. And when you're nitpicking, that means things went pretty well. So bathroom. Love this bathroom. I love tile going around the whole thing like this. Easy to clean. Original linoleum. Excellent condition. Bathtub. The only things I did in here, there was like a handrails around the bathtub. I removed those and then had to re-caulk the tub, and the old caulking was like concrete, getting that out of there. So all of this has been redone in silicone. And then I added this paneling on the inside to line the walls, and then added the shower curtain because there's a window here. And there's other ways to go about it, but this is a simple solution to just put another shower curtain against the wall. I've done that in another house, and I've never had anyone complain about it. It's not the best thing in the world, but this isn't a you know, just is what it is. It's not a rich man's bathroom. It's just a normal place. This is one thing I have found seems to have happened in this house, and I don't know what's causing it. Now here, this looks like drywall did that, so maybe this one was like that. The only other thing I noticed in the house is this trim right here around this door is pulled off just a little bit, but you know, again, it's no big deal. And it could have been one of those things that was like that already and I'm just not remembering it. But there's no damage to the house anywhere. Everything has been left in the same condition that they moved in, minus some very minimal wear and tear. So I really can't complain. There's nothing that can't be reversed. But I think I'm most disappointed in would just be that the floor got this roughed up. But again, you know, not that big of a deal in the scheme of things. I just didn't want to have to redo any polyurethane, and I will do it probably because they did get this down to some bare wood, and I don't know who could move in here next and what silly stuff could happen. So I don't want to potentially end up with any staining that gets down into the woods because of the exposed oak. Oak can be sensitive to stuff. That's why oak gets these like big dark black stains in it, because it's got a lot of tannic acid in the wood, and then, you know, like a dog pees on the floor and then it will react with it and turn black. Trying to find a spot to use as an example. Oh, I know where it was one. I think in this area. Stuff like that. You know, these water stainings. This is because there was a washing machine, was a washer and a dryer was in this room at one point. So once the owners of the house got older, they might have even had a washer and dryer at one point, but they moved them into this bedroom, and so that is the water and the drain for the washing machine. And then right there where you see that spot, there used to be the plug for the dryer. And then right here, that was a 4-inch hole that goes through the house outside. So I didn't want to close this in case this room was ever used for that again. So this is a piece of that shower liner glued over the hole. So that's for the vent. And then the plug. And then I guess this is probably where a drain pan was for the washing machine. But there was still some leaking at some point. But I love this house. Really do. Another reminder. It's got some pocket doors here and there. It's kind of a strange place to have it in the bedroom, but I really like that it has them here. So if you're in the living room, you can close it off, sliding doors with pocket doors on both sides. So if you were in here and you just needed a little privacy or a break from people or whatever, you have it. House has propane, heat. It's just a backup heat. This house has a heat pump. But it's nice that it has these in here. I don't know if they ever used them. Probably not, would be my guess, because it just has a heat pump. And it didn't get like extremely cold, and there wasn't any major power outages last year. So out here, I was nervous about the carport. This is going to sound very strange. I was nervous about a carport. But one of my worries was that people might park in here, or put some, you know, anything that has a, you know, 4-stroke engine with oil in it, and then have oil dripping down on the, you know, just grease this thing up like it's a parking lot at Advanced Auto Parts or something. And I really didn't want that. This is the only thing. You can see those just very minimal little drips. And I think what it was I think right here they had a grill. So I'm thinking that could be some little drips, because I don't remember those. Other than that, carport's in perfect condition. Some sidewalk chalk. Looks like somebody had a lot of fun right here. No big deal. Clean that off. I do have some issues with some standing water in the backyard. There's a drain down here in the bottom of the stairwell, and then the line for that drain runs underground way down here in the woods. And what happened is that line had collapsed, so it didn't drain out good. So I had a mini excavator come in and dig out this ditch. It was pretty deep and it was pretty hard to dig it. And then in the backfilling, it just didn't get all graded out perfect. So this fills up with water, and then there's a spot here. Basically, it's a little humped up here. So I'm going to, I have a tractor. I don't know if you can see it. John Deere tractor front end loader on it. I'm going to bring that down here and maybe try to get this grade out a little better. Scoop up some dirt from somewhere, maybe fill this in a little bit, and get that a little better, because you know it's just water runs down here and here, and if it can't get out, you can end up with a lot. This is from raining yesterday, so I was over here last night when it was raining, and it was quite a bit of water. Back here you can see no gutters, need to do that. Not having gutters, you can see what it does. Washes stuff out. This is something I did while I was at it. This is a little clean out, but you got a condensation line, from inside, on the air handler inside. The coil creates condensation, and then that water either goes into a floor drain in a basement a lot of times, but in this case it has a condensation pump, which pumps it out through where the line set goes through the wall, and it goes through this clear line, and normally that's just draped over in a yard, but in a warm, very humid environments like where I'm at in the summertime, you will end up with a big wet spot. So while I was redoing all this drain line, I ran a line around to right here, and then what I have is that clear line goes right in there. So all that condensation goes into this, floor drain right there, and it just puts it way down there, which isn't a problem. Granted, this is a problem, so that needs to be fixed. This was the heat pump, still doing excellent. The only issue with the heat pump is the fact that there's no gutters on the house, so water comes over, hits the heat pump, and splashes against the house. So it is keeping the bricks wet, which that could cause a problem, because bricks can soak in water, so that's wet feeling right now. And there's kind of a green cast on it from where mildew grows, so really do need to get the gutters, Let me see. I mean, that's just from rain, but still need to get the gutters on this house, because there's issues with the fascia board here and there that, the house really probably needs a new roof sooner or later too. But, I was eating the cost of having a mortgage, and, I have a lot of other costs as well, and just wanted to try to, that first phase, just kind of get that big stuff done, get it ready to rent, get it rented, and then try to do more stuff kind of as time moves on. But really like this house. I love ranch houses. I mean, it's a dated look, but I don't get hung up on stuff, like that. This is what I like. I have access to everything on the other side of the road. Barns and buildings, and I've got my tiny house set up over there. I should walk over there. Most of y'all know about that, but we'll go on over there. So I wasn't expecting these people to move, but they did. Kind of thought they'd be here for probably like another year or two was my guess, based on just sort of my perception of what they've said in the past, but it didn't happen. So the whole thing, what I was saying was, I was kind of establishing this area as just kind of a fun little place. So, that's them. Pretend property line exists. Anytime I mentioned that I was going to set up some stuff to enjoy over here, people are like, I can't believe they'd want to, for you to do that. Look how far away this house is. People live in apartment buildings on each other. So anyone that moves in, they move in knowing that they rent the house in the yard and have access to the driveway. Not all that's theirs, it's just the house. So I think it's real funny how people kind of can perceive stuff, that me being way over here tucked around a corner every once in a while is an encroachment on this house, when people are piled on top of each other living in cities and want to do it in those cases, or have to do it, whatever it is. But this is my little area. So I started building the tiny house many, many moons ago. I can't think of what year. I started building that thing probably 10 years ago, maybe. Never finished it. Kind of moved on to the stuff you see me doing now, and it just didn't make sense. And then I got married, and then children or child, and so just the way the cookie crumbled, and I never really had time. And then as I've started to do a little better, I'm trying to dedicate some more time towards doing some things that I like, which was getting this finished. I haven't been doing it here lately, but I want to get back on it. So this whole area that this is sitting was completely inaccessible. You could not get over in here. There was barbed wire fences in here, trees all falling over. It was a mess, and I'm fortunate enough to have a tractor, which means I worked a lot and bought one, and used that to clean this whole area up, and I use it to bush hog this whole field and do other stuff across the road and anything I want to pick up, and sometimes it's just to ride around in it screaming, having fun, but used it to get this area nice and cleaned up. I mean, stuff's grown up, but I mean, there were trees I had to cut down, big stumps I had to push up and remove, and so I've gotten it into this nice area. This is a cherry tree. Back behind it's a mimosa tree. This is a mimosa tree, which is kind of basically a weed tree, but they get these beautiful flowers on them. They're real tropical. It's like a dinosaur tree. They get these neat pea pod looking things on them. They're just really cool trees. I'm going to end up doing something with this clump of trees, make this area better. A lot of little cedar trees around here. Right now I've got the house parked here, but I'm thinking it's going to end up in this area, and then beside this cherry tree I was thinking about doing some sort of like little outdoor kitchen area, and then this whole area would sort of be activity area. I want to make improvements to the barn, a lean-to coming off, and like brick it under it, and you know, I've got a little plan. Y'all can check all that out on the other channel, the Homestead Craftsman. Kind of how I'm going to handle all this. I've got videos of me doing some of this work. Then I've got the channel Tiny Square Inch. I'll put those links in the description, and then also on my channel you can click the little channels tab, and that shows you stuff about this. But it's a really cool little house, metal roof. Then it's got the cedar. It's a bad time of the day to film, you get too many shadows, but it's got the cedar shake siding. All these windows were old windows, like window sashes that I turned into, I don't know what you call them, awning style windows. They hinge out from the top, so they go like this. And then I'm going to make these ways where you can prop them open, so you can imagine how they could all, here's one that's kind of open. You know, all the windows could be opened like this, so if it starts to drizzle or something, you could still keep them open. We'll go ahead and look inside. Right now, I've got the front door open. The door is pretty nice. It's cherry panels. I made the door, so I don't want them. I'm going to end up putting some sort of like storm door or something on here. Right now, I just got plastic over the opening to keep. I built this thing originally over in the woods, off my parents' driveway across the road, and then once I got this place, I moved it over here. And I never anticipated the fact that all that wind was blocked by those trees when I lived, I mean, when it was over there. And so wind can just shoot up this field, and when it's raining, man, this thing can get pelted with rain. So the front door was getting wet, so then that's when I just put that inside and put the plastic over it for now. And then I'm going to come up with some sort of good solution for when I'm not here, something that basically wraps around the front porch in a very neat way. And then or when I am here and it turns up some sort of big storm, I can do something to kind of protect it. Take a look around the other side of the house. I'm just going to have no concern of how long this video gets. Go around back. And like I said, I think this area here, so I'll show you the view. If it's here, you know, this would sort of be the view. Now again, I'm probably going to do some stuff with this, and these little cedar trees will probably go. And then there's an electrical service right here. I might put something in front of that to make that more attractive. My wood piles, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, and then this stuff will get moved. That little building out there is like firewood, and my bush hog is under there, so rotary cutter for those of you who want to be smart aleck. So yeah, it would get tucked back in there. That base of that tree right there, that is a cherry tree. Then the cedar right here. Really nice little trees back in this area though. We've got it's willow oak here, a little small willow oak. Some of this stuff, you know, might get changed. Back in here I want to build some sort of little small, like a no bigger than 16 by 16, but 12 by 12 to 16 by 16 cabin. back in here. So some of these little trees might end up going. Alright, my filming stopped there a second ago. I'm not sure, so I'm just going to continue going. I think I was saying something about the little cabin. Transitioned over here. This whole area was, again, packed with stuff. 3 decent-sized pine trees were back here. I took those down. All that's been cut up and drying for firewood. So like outdoor or wood stove in the shop building, that type of thing. So I still have to do a lot of grading back in here, and you can see these big stumps. They need to go. And then all these, for those of you who know what trees are which, all the pine trees I'm cutting down. Pine trees in this setting, kind of too close to the building and stuff like that, they're just going to getting blown down. And then what I'm going to do is, you can see like this right here is a willow oak tree. I'm going to get some of these from different places and try to transplant those where I want them. Or maple trees, something, and just let those grow. I mean, there's a lot of them already in place, like right here. Nice little willow oak tree. So by getting rid of some of these other trees, I've opened this up, and then the trees that I want will then start to grow. And I'm not concerned if all this happens in my lifetime, but you know, over time this will become a very nice thing. This whole area back here was packed full of scraggly pine trees. All those are down now, and I've pushed up all the roots. I mean, I had a hole right here. It was like 4 feet deep and 12 feet around, digging up a really big stump. And so I've kind of had to grade all that back out. And then what this is going to be is an extension off this building that will be some sort of like automotive shop building for me. And the entrances to all this will probably be on the other side with normal man doors on this side, and then like I said, an lean-to that comes off, and out here I want to put this massive bandsaw that I have, and then do like a bricked out patio under it with my shaving horse. And so like I kind of want to set up a traditional hand tool type wood shop down here as part of this barn. I want to raise the roof and then do an extension that way and this way, and then a lean-to coming off the back. So I think that is all I'll talk about right now. I'm going to go inside. I want to start cleaning the walls up and then figure out where I need to actually do some touch-up painting and then total wall painting. So let's go inside and get started on that. This place has a particularly nice view at all different times during the day, but especially in the evenings. You do have this power line going across the front yard, but I don't know. Stuff like that don't bother me. I think it would look a lot better if this tree wasn't there and these worthless bushes. And of course, if I didn't have mud spots in the yard at the moment. For dealing with these low spots in the front yard, I'm just adding some dirt and then kind of disturbing the whole area to where I can kind of grade it out smooth. If you dig a real sharp-edged hole and then fill it back in, you're going to get ridges on the outside of the hole when settling occurs. So I'm kind of, it's kind of like using a box blade on a driveway or something. You need to kind of get down into the surface to where the new stuff mixes with the old stuff and you don't end up with issues. So right here you can see the very distinct area where the hole was dug, and then this is kind of mounded up around the edges. So I'm going to use my tractor with the bucket, add some dirt, and then use the teeth to kind of smooth it all out. And I think while I'm at it, I'm going to get rid of these 2 bushes and maybe this little tree-ish thing here, and then I'll probably deal with this tree later. It's the only shade in the front yard, so I think I just want to kind of limit up at the bottom and then try to sculpt the tree into something okay, and then in the future I may do some plantings out here. I'd like to plant some fruit trees, probably not in the view, but over here do like an orchard of some sort down the road. So for now, this is all I got. These bushes are a lot tougher than I imagined. They're a little bigger than they look on camera, and there's like 1,000 3/4 to 1 inch pieces coming up, so I think the root balls on these are pretty tough. So it's time to get nasty with them. We'll see if this works. My organic concrete block. This thing could turn into a whole video. Here's the bushes gone, and the tree down there trimmed up. The tree looks much better, and it's a lot easier to kind of clean up around it. I can get my bush hog around it. Basically, that tree sort of marks the edge of the yard. Got these smoothed out. I'll put down some grass seed in a minute. Probably also gonna cut this down. I did find out that this plant originated in my great-grandmother's yard when it used to be over here. There's nothing over there anymore, but so, you know, probably end up having to take it down anyway. It's not that great looking. Let's go on inside and take a look at the house. I think I've got it unlocked. Give me a second. So I've done all my painting. It's gonna be a little dim in here. We're not gonna worry about it. This hallway's been repainted. So it's just white paint. Before it was just dirty marks. So this has all been repainted from the bottom of the trim down to the baseboard. Everything's been vacuumed. So this room shows nice and clean now. So I completely repainted this wall and then this wall. And then I painted here and kind of feathered it out. And then I painted over here and feathered it out. The weird lighting right there is what's causing that. Had to completely paint this and kind of feather that out into this. So it's white on white, but the whites are just ever so slightly different. But I've got it to where you can't actually see it. So it's all going on over there. You got weird light coming through those two windows in the door, so it's not easy to tell. Bedroom. These walls washed up really nice. What I ended up using was a mix of borax. So I basically dissolved as much borax as I could into a bucket of water and then put a little dish soap and then used a microfiber covered sponge to clean. It worked pretty good. This wall I had to paint that. there was just this big weird spot where they had kind of, you can almost kind of see a little ghosted mark of it. Not too worried about it. It's hard to tell. It's when you're looking at a house like this, you can really nitpick stuff because there's nothing in it. So there's nothing to distract from it. You know, once you've got a rug down and, you know, there's furniture in place and you're doing stuff inside, then it's not as noticeable that there's like, oh, there's a little smudge right here. That's the bad thing about a totally empty house. You notice every last thing. I'm still going to come in here and hit the floors with a Swiffer when I back my way out of here. But completely painted this room. Went ahead and just did the whole thing. It was a children's room, so it was just too smudged up, and there were little places where it was knocked into the wall, dents all over the place. So I spackled all that up. Hallway completely painted it just from dragging hands. Dark in here, but repainted this room as well, and did go ahead and cut in with a brush at the ceiling and the baseboard. At first I was just trying to roll real close, but that slight difference in the paint wouldn't let it happen. So that's it as far as the house goes. I may come back and do a very light sanding in this room with just a hand sander or something, and then just hit some polyurethane down just to protect the floor. When I say to protect the floor, I'm just talking about like if somebody dumped a bunch of, you know, something there, just to where it doesn't stain the oak. So I'm gonna get some grass seed down and I guess call this video to an end. So let me do that real quick.
I was out there alone, moving from station to station. I've been searching for the right one, but I was ready for something more. My perfect love, you were out there going solo. You've been running with the wild ones. You were ready for something more. Something more.
That wraps up this video. Like I said, just a bunch of talking and showing this house. I like to revisit these places in videos when I can. So overall, everything was good in this house. While I was inside doing some stuff, I did find one place in the kitchen was a hole, got knocked in the paneling. That was a little disappointing. House was built in 1967, made it all the way to 2019 or 20, whenever the hole got knocked in. But it made it all the way to then, not having anything like that happen. But, oh well, stuff happens when you rent houses. It is tricky to rent a house you're kind of sentimental about or kind of going to take things personally. So I'll warn you of that if you're in the wanting to enter the game. Everything else I think was, went smooth. Just some painting, washed the walls, painted, and I probably do need to sweep the basement out. It's got some leaves in there, but I'm going to just start rambling. I'm tired. I've done a lot today. Bush hog trails, did some front end loader work, did what you saw me do here in the yard with the bushes and filling in these holes. Bush hogged some more trails in the field for doing some hayride type stuff. So I rent just this house, but I keep the rest for myself as far as whatever I want to do in the field, and then the barn's over there. So yeah. I think that's it. Check out the links below. My book is on buying cheap houses. Not like the one behind me. This was not a cheap house, but the ones you see me doing in other videos. And then I've got the contract for doing cash deals and the donation link if you'd like to contribute to the videos. Thank you to all of y'all that have done that. I'm blown away by it. Not just by how many people want to do that, but the size of some of the donations. I hate the word donation. It sounds like I'm some sort of a charity or something like that. Like I've said before, it just takes the edge off of doing this type of stuff. So that's about it. Thank you all for watching. I'll let you know what I end up doing with this place soon, probably. And then if you kind of like the scene down here, the other channel I have, The Homestead Craftsman, I fool around down here, do tractor work on this place and across the road. And I really want to start, maybe this fall time, every fall is my favorite time of the year. So every single fall, that's like my time of the year. I say, maybe this year's my year to do this, or this. But for whatever reason, it all falls into fall time for me because it's the best time of the year. It's nice and cool, no mosquitoes, ticks have gone away. It's not hot. Summer's rough. Summer's my least favorite. All right, rambling. Thanks for watching. See ya.